about this NGO from me. So first I would like to present myself because most of you don't know me yet. My name is Zsófia Pataki and I'm an Esperanto teacher at the University of Szeged in the south part of Hungary. And I used to learn Esperanto 2.5 years ago, and for 1.5 years I'm teaching this language. So you will know it how easy to learn this language. But the language itself will present Eva after me. And first I will present an NGO which is called Education and Internet. And I will call this NGO HAI during the presentation because this is the Esperanto pronunciation of the short name of this organization. So first a few words about the NGO itself. It's a non-governmental international youth organization, and especially it's working on projects related to education and internet. And it has a very strong connection to Esperanto because most of our workers are Esperantists. So we have a lot of projects also about Esperanto. And between 1999 and 2005, it was working as an informal work group of the World Esperanto Youth Association, TEJO. And only in 2005 it became a registered organization in Slovakia. And at the moment it has about 25,000 members. And these members are those people who are registered on our website. And besides this member, we have tens of internet activists who are working on this project. And the slogan of HAI is easily and quickly, because the aim of this organization is to provide an international communication easily and quickly. And this is the aim also for all of our projects, as you will see. So the main activities of this organization is creating websites, mainly language-related websites, organizing several events, and publishing. And now I have to say an important information that the things that we are publishing, you can get it for free here. So you can find the table on the ground floor where is the book exchange, and there are a lot of info materials about Esperanto and also about our project. So there are DVDs and CD-ROMs, and you can take it for free and take for your friends because we have a lot of it. So please take it if you have some time. And in addition, the organization is informing about how to use Esperanto and internet to communicate worldwide easily and quickly, as I said it before. So we have more online projects, what I will present. And I won't speak about ixo.net because it's the homepage of the organization. So if you want to know more information about it, please visit ixo.net. And blogo.ixo.net is the blog of the organization. So here you can find the recent news. Yes, and these are the projects, what I will present you today. And the first project is lernu.net. And this is a free website to learn Esperanto, and it's the biggest of the world. So if somebody is interested in this language and want to learn a new language very quickly, I recommend you to use this website. And it's available in 37 languages, so most probably you will find your own language to make the learning easier. And it already has 144,000 registered users. And it has a lot of different courses from A1 level, so totally beginner can learn the language with the help of this website. And it has a dictionary with many languages and chat rooms to speak with other Esperanto speakers, and a forum to discuss different topics about Esperanto or about other things. And there are good news that Lernu will have a new website. It will be launched in June 2013. So hopefully in the summer you can already use this new Lernu. It will have a new library, new forums, new dictionaries, and it will look nicer, and it will be easier to use and more helpful to learn Esperanto language. HAI has also online dictionaries. The first I will present you is vortaro.net. This is a monolingual Esperanto dictionary, and I recommend this for Esperanto speakers who want to use the language correctly, because it's a very easy language, but people anyway make mistakes. But if you use this dictionary, you can control here what word is existing, what is not, and how to use it correctly. and it's based on the book Plana Illustrita Vortaro de Esperanto. So it's a full illustrated dictionary of Esperanto. Another online dictionary is computeko.net. Maybe it will be interesting also for those who don't speak Esperanto, because it's available in 7 languages. And the aim of this website is uniting computer-related terms of several dictionaries. So people who are writing or translating the computer-related text, this website can be very useful to find the terms that you have to use. And the most extensive part of this dictionary is the English Esperanto part, because it has 7,800 terms. And unfortunately, the other parts of the dictionary need some help yet, so it's not as extended as the Esperanto English version of it. Actually, it has more language-related projects which are financed by EU. And now I will present you a few projects from this. The first one is Slovakia.eu, and this is a free online website to learn the Slovak language. And if you are interested, here you can receive the CD-ROM version of this website. And this is also available in many languages, in 9 languages. It has between 1,200 and 1,500 visits a day, and it has more than 8,500 registered users. It has the level of A1 and A2. It has different games to practice the words what you already learned. It has grammar, forums to speak with other users, an internal message system to find other people who also speak Slovak language, and it has a media library as well. So maybe a few of you are interested in Slovak language, and you can use this free website. I'm using it as well because at the moment I live in Slovakia, and it's really good to learn this language easily. And here you can see a few pictures how this website looks like, because it's really nice, and people are working on it a lot to have a nice website for you to learn the Slovak language. About the grammar a little bit. And the library, where you can find books, magazines, videos, music, some Slovak jokes, proverbs, and so on. A very similar project is Deutsch.info. This project was created to learn the German language. And to create this website is based on the experiences of Lernu and Slovakia.eu. This website is especially for immigrants and foreigners who are going to move to Germany or Austria. And you can find also information about these countries there to make easier for people who are moving there to know this country and start their new life there. And this project doesn't work yet. It will start in June 2013. So in June, if you don't speak German yet, you will already able to start it with this website. And it has the levels A1, A2, and B1. So it's a very good base to start to learn German language. And it also has forums, message systems, and media libraries like the other pages as well. And a few pictures about the website itself. Useful information about Germany and Austria. And the lessons. Yes, and now I will present you maybe the project that will be your favorite, because Lingvo.info was created for people who like to learn languages. And I think everybody is like this in this room. This website will contain information about different languages. You will be able to find here the alphabet of languages of the world. And it will have an online quiz which inspires people to learn language facts. So with this quiz you can control the information that you learned on this website. And this Lingvo.info has an old version, old.lingvo.info. So if you cannot wait until this website will be launched, you can visit this old version. And it is renovated now in 2013 and 2014. So it will have a new content after, a quiz, as I mentioned, the Facebook game, and many language presentations. So I recommend you to visit this after it will be working. Speakandlearn.eu. This is the project Speak and Learn, and it's a platform for cell phones to learn EU languages. And this project is created especially for students who are going to study to another country. And with this cell phone application, it will be easier for them to learn the most useful phrases and expression what they need during their life in that country. And 17 languages are involved. So when somebody out of Europe is moving to Europe, this will make them already easier to learn these languages. And especially for Erasmus students or Leonardo or Comenius students who are using these programs. The other project is monda.eu. This is the website of the project Global E-Learning. And the aim of this Global E-Learning project is to provide information about globalization for people who are interested in this topic. And it has also a multilingual course. It has 11 topics, also an internal message system and multilingual forums and media libraries. So this is to know more about our globalized world. HIE also organizes events, not only the online projects. I will speak a little bit more detailed about the two biggest events, CES and KAEST. And we also organize Wikipedia trainings and seminars. And the last Wikipedia training happened 2 weeks ago in Partizánske in Slovakia. And it was very interesting, and especially Esperanto speaker Wikipedia people came to us to train themselves during this training. And we present ourselves, of course, on language fairs, and we organize different presentations and seminars. And now I will present you the biggest event of HIE. This is CES, the Summer Esperanto Study. So as you can hear in the name, this event was organized to learn Esperanto language. So it's an annual 8-day event. And it's the official meeting of Lernu users. So those people who are using the Lernu website can come to this event and meet each other personally. And the last year it happened in Nitra, Slovakia, and 250 people came from 25 countries to participate in this event. Now I would like to show you a few pictures about the event. During the day you can participate in the language courses of Esperanto from A1 level to C2. So really everybody can come who speak just a little bit of Esperanto or a very good Esperanto, because even if you speak like a fluent, you can learn many good new informations there from very good teachers. And in the afternoon, there's a little bit fun as well, so you can take part on other language courses, not only Esperanto, take part of presentations, concerts and parties during the night. And the next CES in 2013 will be organized in Martin in Slovakia between the 12th and the 20th of July. And until now we have 207 participants from 24 countries, but I would like to invite you too, if you are interested in Esperanto language, to reach the number 250 again like in the last year. And you can visit the webpage ces.xo.net to know more information about this event. The other big event is the KAEST, Conference on the Application of Esperanto in Science and Technology. It's a biennial conference in November, also in Slovakia. And during these events you can take part in many trainings, presentations and professional debates in the topic of science and technology. So it's a little bit more serious event, or CES. And we have publications as well, for example, about Wikipedia, about the grammar of Esperanto, about how to teach Esperanto. There's also a paper version of Komputeko of the website, what I showed you already. And there's a book about the presentations which were presented during KAEST. And these are the publications that you can find here during the conference now and take home for free if you are interested. CD-ROMs, DVDs, a few small calendar. So if you are interested in something, you can just take it with you. And some information about HIE practically. It has its head office in Partizánske in Slovakia. And many people are working for this HIE organization, especially volunteers, and trainees are coming from all over the world during the year. And for example, now I am a trainee as well with the Campus Hungary program since the 1st of May at this HIE organization. And we have also supporters who support our job very much. ESF, which is Esperantic Studies Foundation, European Union, individuals, and the town of Partizánske. And from the September of 2013, we will be able to receive European volunteers from the European Voluntary Service. So if somebody is interested to work as a volunteer for this organization, you are very welcome, because we need people who speak a lot of languages to help our language project. And you can see our office, the volunteers in the last summer, and on the last picture the organizer team of SES. So it's really a very good team who is good to work together with. And thank you very much for your attention. If you would like to contact us, you can use info@ixo.net. And now I would like to give the word to Eva, who will present you Esperanto language.
What deliberate mistake?
Okay, hello, my name is Eva. I am an architect. I live in Bratislava, and unfortunately I'm not a polyglot. My language learning started in primary school. I was born in Czechoslovakia, and it was usual that language learning started when kids are 10 years old. Same it was with me, and we had no choice. We all had to learn Russian language. So I started to learn Russian language, but I was lucky because at that time we had the young teacher who just finished her English course, and she wanted to try teaching English as well. So I started with a small group of kids learning also English. Then Velvet Revolution came, and it was good because it brings us opportunity to travel later, but also we had to stop learning Russian, and we had to stop it without achieving any reasonable level. So it was the first language which I have stopped, and I had feeling that I have failed with this language. Later we had to, instead of Russian, we learned German. My language education continued in secondary grammar school, at the university later, and after finishing university, the list of languages which I started finished it was English, 10 years, without good grammar, but with ability to communicate. 6 years of German. I still understand when someone is saying hello to me, but that's all. 2 years of Russian. I can read very slowly. Intense course of Italian, no results at all. And 2 lessons of French. And my language teacher told me, please don't do anything with languages, leave it to professionals. Maybe it was dogs there in the sentence. I really didn't feel very comfortable about languages and relation me and languages. Then as my life was going on, and I have realized, quite shocked, that I finished university 10 years ago, and I'm not doing any mental exercise at all. And I have no power, no energy to come home and read more about bricks and thermal insulation or something like that. I wanted to do something, and then I remembered that I heard about Esperanto, and I thought that, wow, I heard it's the easiest language, so maybe it will be something for me. If people who doesn't have good genes for learning languages can do that, maybe also I can try. So I tried it. So please another slide, please. Let's say something about Esperanto at the beginning. It was created by this guy, Ludwig Laser Zamenhof, and first time it was published in a book called Lingua Internacia, so international language, 126 years ago. Zamenhof was able to communicate in 8 or 9 languages, and he was learning also 3 others. So he was really clever guy, and he lived in area where many nations, but unfortunately, it was not the intercultural area where everyone understands each other and can communicate good. It caused many problems, and he thought that a common language could solve the problems. So he tried to do this language, and it was successful at the beginning, and I think it is still successful because it became a living language almost from the very beginning. And the problem with living language could be that it grows very fast, and it can divide into many small languages. So at the beginning, in 1905, was founded Academy of Esperanto, who takes care about the language and about its growth. Yes. What I see about many people think that the main point of Esperanto is to beat English. I don't think it will ever happen, because Esperanto doesn't have the political or economical power to do this. But it can help communication generally. If there is language which is really easy to learn, everyone can learn it, then people can learn another languages. They can invest their time to another languages. It was told here today that there is 6 or 7,000 languages in the world, and just half of them has more than 3,000 of people who can speak it. So there's so much languages, and they are disappearing, and people are trying to learn English instead, and invest their time just to one language. Usual question which I got when I started to learn Esperanto was if it's worth it when there is just a few speakers. It's 2 million of speakers of Esperanto, and for example, in Slovakia there is 5 million people, and if you will learn Slovak language, and I will be very happy if you will, you can use it through the internet, or if you will visit that small dot there.
Not deliberate.
So.
Thank you.
So you can exercise when you will visit Slovakia, and which has 5 million people. Or you can choose any. You can close your eyes and pick a point on a map, and probably you will find someone who is speaking Esperanto in the world, because Esperantists are everywhere, and they also have their own groups where they meet. There is a lot of meetings, so you will probably find a place where you can use the language. Next one, please. Esperantists are very passionate about language, and from the very beginning, everything was translated into Esperanto, and also new poems, new books were written. There is approximately 25,000 of books in Esperanto. So there are original books, there are translated books. Also, as an example, Czech Wikipedia was born from Esperanto version of Wikipedia. There is Czech who is responsible for that. So Esperanto also helped to create a new translation of Wikipedia. Okay, next one. In Esperanto, there is a lot of music, original music. You can listen to Esperanto, non-stop Esperanto online radio. If you want to try, write this address. It's called muzeiko.info. So you can listen Esperanto. There are interviews. There are information, and also music just in Esperanto. Okay, next one. More about Esperanto grammar. Well, I already said that it's a very easy language. It has just 16 rules. Now, some of you may think that there is nothing to explore when there is just 16 rules, but there is such a thick Esperanto grammar book. So if you like grammar, so don't worry, you will have something to study. Okay, next one, please. There is 28 Latin letters in Esperanto, and also 6 letters with diacritics. For example, ch or j. They all are. Every time you read the letter the same way, there are no exceptions in it. Not such a difficult reading as in English, for example. Next one. Esperanto is using preposition, the preposition as well, but prefixes and suffixes. Generally, all nouns used O at the end, so you know that it's noun. Plurals use J. There are just 2 cases, nominative and accusative. The other cases use
prepositions.
Prepositions. Yes. Thank you. Verbs in present tense use as at the end. Past tense is, future tense os. So you almost know everything. Okay, next one. So there are some examples. Roots are generally from Romance and German languages. You can see some of these examples. I think you can read it also from the end. So arbo is tree, arboj trees, bona is good, bone is well. There are some prefixes. For example, opposite where opposite we use mal at the beginning of the word. If you want to say that something is professional, you use this isto. For example, diminution of degree is et, it's from French. Argumentative of degree, egg, it's from Russian. So it's really easy because it's just a few of these small, short words, and they're used the same way all the time. Next one, please. So there are again some examples. Amo, love, arbo was the tree, arbaro, forest, arbeto, small tree, arbeco, big tree. So you can very easily create new words or words you didn't know at the beginning. It's multiplying language. So there are three words: horse, sheep, and chicken. And if you want to make words related to it, for example, horse but feminine, well, try to make it. Try to fill some of these words in your head in any language you like. I was trying to do this in English. It took me several hours, and I'm not sure that I completed it good. Okay, next one. So there are so many words you need to learn to study in any other language, and well, as I said, I was learning English for 10 years at school, and half of them I never heard before. The next one. So there are roots for this horse is chevalo, sheep is shafo, chicken koko, and for feminine you use in, masculine vir, immature animal it. So it's very easy to fill it, and you have 21 words with learning 3 of them, in fact. Okay, go. So you can see the system is really easy, and people progress very rapidly in language. Okay, and that's not all, because you can make also another words from it. It's free to connect these words if it makes sense. So, for example, I don't know which one I will translate. Probably not. Okay. There is you can see example then that it makes a difference if it's small stallion or if it's stallions for small horses. So. But it's the rule is still the same. So every time you make it same way, so every Esperantist will understand you, and you don't have to learn it. So you don't have to learn so many new words. You just have to know the basics. Okay. I would be very happy if you will try Esperanto, not just for the reason which I said before, that it can, for example, help to save other languages, because you can concentrate on other languages as well, but also because there are fascinating people there. Esperantists are awesome. Events are amazing. I was on several of them, and they are really funny. It's really good to be there and be with a group of people who have such interesting ideas. Esperanto is good for traveling, as I mentioned. It can be a challenge for you if it's too easy for you. It can be a challenge to learn it as quick as possible, or do something like this. And also, I know so many people, so many Esperantists who are so passionate about the language, and I'm sure it will help you to share your passion for languages with other people, because I was not able to understand how passionate people can be about languages when I was not able to learn a foreign word. And when I tried Esperanto and I was successful in such a short time, now I understand. So I will be very happy if you will try Esperanto or recommend Esperanto to people with who you like to share your love to languages. Okay. There are several web pages where you can learn Esperanto or download books for learning Esperanto. Summer School of Esperanto, it was already mentioned here, but yes, it's very, very nice, a nice event where you can visit another part of the world and learn as well, and it's really good for beginners and also for teachers, so any level you have reached in Esperanto, you can continue in this event. Okay. So I will be very happy when you will try it, and if you will, let me know, and thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, well, Zsófia, would you like to come back on stage just if there are any questions? We've got 10 or so minutes for questions, so what I'm going to do is give you a microphone, and I'm going to go into the audience and see. So hands up, guys. Who's got a question? Okay, that's easy. Short walk, dankon.
Okay, I'm curious, where is Esperanto most popular? In which parts of the world, and where is it growing?
I think it's really popular in Europe, in Russia, and in Brazil, for example. I have noticed that in these parts of the world is the most active Esperantists.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think in Europe, because this language started in Europe. So the first people who started to speak first in Poland, and after it became more popular in Europe first, and just after went to other parts of the world because it's far away. So I think that's why in Europe. And in Europe, I think the countries Hungary, Poland, France, and Germany, where I think that there are the most of Esperanto speakers.
Yeah, this morning we heard a very interesting talk about 3,000 of the world's existing languages are endangered. And so I'm curious why anyone would spend resources learning in an artificial minority language. And maybe my question is better phrased like this: will Esperanto save your life, or will it just make you a more entertained tourist?
For us, didn't save our life because we weren't in life danger yet. But for the first question, I think it's good to learn Esperanto because it really doesn't take a lot of time from you. And with the help of this language, you can meet other people who speak other languages, and maybe this will help you to learn an endangered language.
Petro, who is the boss of the organization about which Zsófia was talking, was in China last year, and he said it was for him much easier to find Esperantists there and communicate in Esperanto than in English. So for him, he said that it was much easier, and he used Esperanto all the time.
Because I can also talk about the question. Yes, we just heard in the same talk about endangered languages that yes, Esperanto has saved at least one life, that of George Soros' father.
Yeah.
And I believe that you should learn Esperanto, or Esperanto should be taught in schools, for example, in Germany, because then people would have more time to spend on endangered languages. If German students only needed to spend 1 year learning their foreign language, then they would have more time to learn maybe Sorbian or something. Oh, and quick service announcement. If you want to learn Esperanto... Yes, sorry. If you happen to be in Berlin next weekend, I will be giving an intense Esperanto course, 7 hours on Saturday and 6 hours on Sunday.
And I think Eva didn't mention the information that, for example, if a child learns Esperanto as the first foreign language, it will help the child to learn other languages easily, even English. So you can save a lot of time of you or of your children if they learn Esperanto first, and after they will spend half or even less time to learn any other language.
And it's also a psychological thing that Esperanto will give you confidence in communication. And if you have confidence, and you can really easily communicate even when you are not so perfect in foreign language. So it's a really good language to start.
I'm terribly sorry. Another question was answered to you, just like Judith did just a moment ago. As Zsófia pointed out, it's really, really useful. I mean, I myself don't consider Esperanto as a final product. It's, I think learning Esperanto is extremely useful. Using it maybe less so, but learning it is essential. I'll tell you an example. We talked about George Soros for some reason. He's an economist and moneymaker. But do you guys know what was his mother tongue? Exactly. Now, very few people know. I'm surprised that less than 1% of the people I asked know this simple fact. Just go Google it. George Soros learned Esperanto when he was a kid. He picked up maybe Hebrew, Hungarian, and other languages later, but his mother tongue was Hungarian. I personally found that in my school I teach Esperanto Grammar only. 16 rules, just like we heard, only to boost the human mind to learn other languages like English, French, whatever, much faster, even Chinese, much faster later. And I'm really sorry to disappoint all the English speakers in this room, but I find it extremely arrogant when English speakers or English people think that the current lingua franca, just because it happens to be English, it is a happy fact. I don't think it's a happy fact. The English language should not be the lingua franca of the world. It's not a perfect language. It's a very imperfect language. And I think Esperanto, on the other hand, is, although it's an artificial language, simply from a scientific point of view, simply from a linguistic point of view, it's an ideal language. It's artificial, I agree, but it's an ideal language. And I think we should all know about it at least. Thank you.
Thank you. A bit of controversy in the room. Any more questions? Oh no, let's go then. Okay. What?
One quick information to add to what Zsófia said about the fact that Esperanto helps to learn other languages. There is a huge literature on the subject. The most important study is about the work of Professor Helmar Frank at the University of Paderborn in Germany. And well, they run this experiment with children, and some children have learned 2 years English, some other French and then English, and some other Esperanto and then English. And at the end of the 2 years, the children that best spoke English was the third group. So not the first one that did 2 years of English, but the group that learned first Esperanto and then English. So just to
this project is called Springboard to Languages, so you can Google it later.
Thank you very much for your presentation and paying attention on Esperanto language. As far as I got from your presentation, it's very creative. Usually I think that linguists, they are called as potential killers because they like to cut the professional linguists, they cut their words and they prepare them and analyze. And normal people, when they start learning languages, they don't do that. And with Esperanto, no way, you should cut, yes, as I understand, and try to construct the phrases yourself, the words yourself, right? Yeah, so thanks for that Esperanto really, I think, is creative, according to your presentation. But I have another question. Esperanto is not the only one artificial language that has been created, so why Esperanto basically got popular? Why not any other languages? They didn't survive.
One of the reasons is that it's really based on the roots which are well known. So even when I don't translate to you that the root chevalo means horse, you probably understand it because it's based on European languages. It also helps very much in other languages. It helps when you are starting it. So I think this is the reason. Then really there is just 16 rules, so it's not so much. Also there's a lot of people who believe that it will help communication. It's neutral. It doesn't belong to any nation. So it has also the idea behind. So I think that was the reason why people are so passionate about Esperanto.
I have no answers. I have just two questions. The first one, Zsófia, you presented a book named Plena, Vortaro, and so on, something in Esperanto.
Yes, per la illustrita Vortaro de Esperanto.
Very well. That's the monolingual, something like Oxford Learner's Dictionary, in that way?
Yes,
Okay.
it's like that, but in Esperanto.
I don't seem to find it anywhere. There is just an online version, but is it possible to buy a book to have something like, I have an Esperanto book at home?
Yes, of course, it's possible to buy this book. Maybe you can order it also on the internet, but if you go to an Esperanto event, there are always people who are selling Esperanto books. So also personally, you can find these people and buy from them. But if you find me in the break, I can give you contact and
Okay,
we can
thank you.
speak about it.
The second question was, Esperanto is based on European languages. So if
Mainly,
someone
yes.
speaks Russian, German, English, French, Italian, and Spanish, he can, yeah. You have met certainly people from other parts of the world, Chinese, Japanese, Arabic people, Hindi, no idea. You talked to them, and what was their opinion on the Esperanto? How do they find Esperanto?
Yes, for Asian
Thank you.
people, Esperanto is. Or do you want to answer, David?
I would like to, because I know something that fits. It's just what you're implying, of course, is that the roots of Esperanto were mainly taken from European languages, which is true, and that means that other languages are maybe less representative, but actually vocabulary is just one aspect that makes learning a language difficult. Besides that, there is, for example, phonetics. Some languages are easier than others, and there might be grammar, which is a very big thing. And as we've seen, for example, the grammar of Esperanto is very easy. And when I learned Thai, I found out that some things in Thai actually are very similar to Esperanto with this suffixes and prefixes. It works a little bit different, but it's the same concept. And in that way, Asian people find it easy to learn Esperanto because they recognize something else that is familiar to them, like maybe we recognize words that seem familiar. And there have been studies by linguists that looked at how people from different backgrounds learn Esperanto, and they found that also independent of where you come from, it's a factor of a multitude. I don't know the exact numbers, but it takes much less time to learn Esperanto, even for a Chinese, than to learn English or German or French.
Thank you, Dankon.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to have the final question now because I see that time's ticking on. Here you go.
First, thank you for the presentation. It was great. And I would like to ask you, because I know that Esperanto is based in various Indo-European languages, but is there a language that is the most similar to Esperanto? Maybe just one language that is most similar to Esperanto as for the vocabulary? Thank you.
I think the French is the most similar. I was living just 1.5 months in French and I didn't reach even A1 level. But when I was reading, I could understand a big percent of the newspaper, for example, just because of Esperanto. And before I was learning 2 years of Spanish, but in the Spanish I didn't recognize so many. So, of course, there are similarities, but in French I found more similarities. So just in my personal opinion, French.
I think it's really individual because for me it's more similar Italian, but I have no this one lesson of French and intense course of Italian, but it seems to me similar to Italian.
Ok. Giusto very interessa a faro che mi ricevis una domanda anche in la Esperanto lingua. So no questions in Esperanto, guys. But very, very interesting, because we could have translated, we've got a number of speakers. But really, really interesting. In fact, I've heard of some of the stories in the UK. One of the stories mentioned here about teaching children Esperanto for a year before they study an extra language actually does help in the learning process. Studies have been done in UK schools too, where they've done the same thing, Esperanto 1 year, then French 2nd year, compared to 2 years of French, and the children have fared better with French after the year of Esperanto initially. So somebody who speaks Esperanto, not so great, but I can speak a bit. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming and for sharing the information. And also, one event that hasn't been mentioned is Reykjavik in the summer. There's the Universal Esperanto Congress that's taking place in Reykjavik in Islando. In fact, in July, the last week of July. So if anyone wants to go to that, then there are places available, I believe. You can sign up on their website, and we'll link to that as well in the video so that you can find out the information. And if you do go, please let me know, because I'm going to be in Iceland anyway, doing an Icelandic course at the university. So it'd be lovely to see some familiar faces there. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, and enjoy your 10-minute break.